About the jail, he said you have numbers about how many of those inmates are actually Jackson inmates.
Yes, we do. As a matter of fact, they're printed every day on my website in the county, on the county webpage, on my webpage, and they're updated every night. So last night we showed 702 inmates from Jackson, 203 from outside of Hinds County, and then you had 11 from Bolton, 8 from Byram, 23 from Clinton, 13 from Edwards, 19 from Raymond, 12 from Terry, and 5 from Utica. Now, this is just their address. This is where they live. It doesn't show where they might have done their crime.
Right.
So, but that's just the addresses of those involved. And it also, there's a lot of issues that can be talked about. But I think overwhelmingly, almost 905 either from Jackson or from outside of Hinds County. And the point to me becomes, at what point do those who don't live in Jackson but still live in Hinds County, have paid their part of this? The county is required to have a jail. We have that jail. We've met that requirement. Now, there are a lot of options that will be discussed, but as Mr. Stokes was saying earlier, it's time for Jackson, I think, to get back in the jail business, long term. That's not addressing the issues that we talked about in there. In my own opinion, Jackson needs to build their own jail and deal with the situations that they have there. And so that's where I'm coming from on this, because I think the people in my district, Learned and Clinton and Byram and Raymond, they're paying their fair share. Okay? As a matter of fact, you could argue that they're paying more than their fair share as we go through this process. So I think that it's time for Jackson to get back in the jail business and start dealing with it.
They said they're not in the jail business.
Oh, I know. I understand that. They've said that since the county Board of Aldermen, or Board of Supervisors back in the mid-'90s or so renegotiated the deal where they said they would take the whole, responsibility for this. Bad deal. Bad thought process. End of the day, Jackson needs to get back into it, or we're going to reach a point where Jackson, and I think based on the numbers, Jackson alone needs to start paying for their inmates after a certain number.
Do they pay anything now? How does that work?
No.
They pay nothing?
No. Well, let me back up.
Right.
People pay taxes.
Right.
And the sheriff's budget is about $21 million of the $54 million county budget. So, and then within that $21 million is the court, or is the jail. So everyone pays taxes based on the assessment of their property, and that pays for the jail. The question then becomes: at what point do you equalize this payment based on the numbers of people who are and where they're from in the jail? And I think if the numbers were closer in line, you might look at some other avenues, but when 70% of those who are in the jails are from Jackson, that's pretty far out of line.
So you'd like, if they would not want to build a jail, have them pay something per prisoner per day?
Yes, I mean that's in this figure here, if Jackson for the 702 people would pay $10 a day, that would come out to $2,527,200 every year, which is a lot of money, out of their budget. So I just don't think it's fair to come to the smaller cities. For example, if you took Edwards with their 13, $46,800 a year out of Edwards' budget is a lot of money.
Right.
I mean that is a lot of money. So I don't think it's really a really a fair way to go about this. Another issue you have is these are the addresses, not where they committed their crime. So if you were to go with a charge system, do you charge the city where the crime was committed, or do you charge the city where they live?
Right.
And if you charge the city where the crime was committed, then what happens? Right. Well, if I was a police chief, I think I'd put them in a car, drive them back to the city where they live, and say, "Here's your guy. We've arrested him for this crime in my city. Now we're giving him back to you for disposition, and let them go deal with him." Because then they'll start trying to avoid this daily fee. And cities have to budget, and like I say, I mean it's going to be hard for me to justify in my district going back to those cities and saying we need to put up more money to support a jail when 71% of those in there are from Jackson.
Are you supporting building a new jail?
If Jackson wants to build one, I support Jackson building one.
What, as Hinds County stands right now, because of this?
Hinds County has met its obligation. We have a jail.
You don't want to build a new one in Hinds County.
We can build one in Jackson. That's in Hinds County. And Jackson can build it and they can finance it. And I think that would probably be the next step from here.
Maybe this has been asked, but when is this lease or agreement or contract with Jackson up, or is it indefinite? I mean, as far as
The bad one that they.
yeah,
Bad deal.
the one that's been
Apparently forever. Because as was stated earlier, Jackson says they're out of the jail business. So they have not been, I actually approached, the board approached kind of with the idea of, earlier in my first term, would you be willing to help? And the answer was, we're not in the jail business. That was the exact word. So that was a previous administration with Jackson. But nonetheless, if you're not in the jail business, then there you are.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very
How many
much.
inmates are down there? 900 and...
Well, I didn't get the total,
Oh, okay.
but 203 and 702 is 500 or 905, 10, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, about 300, about 1,000, a little over 1,000.
And 200 are state prisoners, right? I'm not
If they
mistaken.
are, we're being paid.
Right,
State.
like 25 a day, correct?
Yeah, we're being paid by the state. Until they go, here's an example. I mean, this is why the cities would think this is a bad idea. I was told that we've had an inmate that's been down there for 4 years. All right? For whatever reason. 4 years, and you go through the formula, $10 a day, and all the way up to 48 months, some city would have paid $14,400 for this individual to be in the jail. The point is, this is a team effort across the board. The judges are going to have to get people through quicker. The sheriff's department is going to have to, make those people available to the judges to get through quicker. We're going to have to make sure that the jail facility is safe for all those who are incarcerated, not only to the individual, but to others that individual may seek and try to, in some way, harm. So it's all a team effort. And I think we've worked well. I mean, this is the first time I've heard of anything related to the jail maintenance that's come to the board since probably 2009. So things have been, at least as far as we were made aware of, we're at least being taken care of on a regular basis.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Appreciate it, but
Okay.
Thank you.
Probably the sheriff take you on a tour of the jail.
We sure hope so.
He'd love to.